All right, so today I had a podcast all set up. I wrote it like the last one. Uh, it's in article form, but I'm pushing it back because of something very important that I needed to talk about, both to explore or to identify something I'm doing, something that I've realized is one of the most important things that we can talk about as men. And just to hopefully catch you in a moment, the right moment, and help you make the right decision. So I changed topics on this podcast because I did not feel like doing this podcast. I just spent the morning editing a book. I got a bunch of work done. I overused coffee, but I did it out of necessity because I needed that boost to get the right stuff done in the morning. So then it comes to the podcast, and it's just the last thing I wanted to do, which means it's exactly what I need to be doing in this very moment. I also saw a post by Ryan Mitchler, and it spoke to this as well. He said something along the lines of, what should you do if you're in a funk? The answer is exactly what you set out to do in the first place. And I've said time and time again, when you don't feel like doing something, that's usually a sign that you should do it. And so, sorry for the lost voice, got a bit of a lost voice here, but that's powerful because that is the difference between winners and losers. Winners do not believe all of their feelings are both good and true. That's very important because we live in a society where feelings are everything, where feelings are both an expression of who we are and what we should pursue. But feelings, so far as I've experienced, are as much lies as they are truthful. We have feelings that are good and true, but a lot of our feelings take us away from what we want to pursue in life, or from or from the life we want to create. And this not believing your feelings is where planning has to come in. If you don't spend an hour or so a week planning your week once a week, and if you don't spend another hour or so planning your tomorrow, I usually do 30 minutes at the end of the day. You leave victory, success, happiness, meaning, accomplishment, life to chance. You allow room for these feelings that are so often untrue, that are so often things that diminish who we are. You leave room for these feelings to take control of your life and to take control of your actions. Essentially, you become a victim to your feelings, and it's a state that I would say that most of the people, especially here in the West, exist in. They don't live in this because you're not living if you're a victim to your feelings. You're existing, but most people exist in this state. It's a state of being pushed by currents rather than setting sails and going in the desired direction. So I don't feel like doing this podcast today, which is exactly why I had to do it. And here's what's important to know and to understand. It's these moments, days, even months and years where we're feeling down, useless, and in a funk that determine our life. Let me say that again. It's these moments, days, even months and years where we're feeling down, useless, in a funk, and where we feel like our effort is futile that determine our life. When you feel great and up to it, you're going to do the work and embark on the adventures. Of course you are. You feel like it. But everyone does the work when they feel like doing the work. Only a minority do great and good work, even go through proper motions when they don't feel like doing it. So even the act of going through the motions that you set out to go through is far better than not. Again, back to planning. That's where planning comes in. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have structure, if you don't know what you're doing or why you're doing it, you'll do anything or nothing. But it's these moments where you don't feel like doing anything, where you feel like you're in a funk. These determine your entire life, because everyone is going to do the work. They're going to embark on the adventures. We're all going to do it when we feel like doing it. That is not extraordinary. Extraordinary comes when you don't feel like doing it and you do it anyway. And you may not feel like doing it for a year. You may not feel like doing it for 2 years or a decade. But that does not excuse you from having to take the actions. And I am talking to myself as well. This is something that I've explored a lot lately, because in the past, in the fairly recent past, I have allowed what I feel or how I feel to cloud my actions or to sway my actions. And that is no way to live. That's not living. It's being a victim. Now, every life is filled with moments of actions where feelings lead to ambitious undertakings. But only winners do what needs to be done when they feel like curling up in their bed and turning on the TV, when they feel lost, when life feels futile. Only winners still do what must be done. And yes, we all have these feelings. We all get in a funk. We all suddenly realize the futility of our efforts, or at least see things from that perspective. It's a lie, but we see things from that perspective. But if you're going to accomplish anything of value and live a life worth living, not wasted and misused like so many are, you have to do what you set out to do when you don't feel like doing it. Think about this in your own life. Think about the chores that you set out to do that you just don't do, or you don't get around to. Think about the book you've thought about writing, but you haven't sat down and actually written the chapters, written the words. You haven't created the structure to start doing what you want to do most, not what you want to do now. Again, that's discipline. Discipline is the battle between what you want now and what you want most. Most people let what they want now win. So think about this in your own life. Think about all these times where you said you're going to do something, and then when it came to that time, you just didn't do it. So I had an awesome morning, which set me up for a great day. But through following a series of thoughts, I got to a point where I just didn't feel like doing this podcast. I had set out to go fishing tonight, and you know what? I kind of just wanted to relax and watch a movie. But I'm doing both. I'm doing the podcast. I'm uploading a few videos to YouTube that I've already done. I already did yesterday, the day before. And then I'm going to go fishing later on, after I go to the gym. After this, I'm going to the gym. These things were set in stone. They're put in my journal, so I have to do them. That's it. That's the podcast. Again, head to thelostartofdiscipline.com to pick up a free copy. Just cover a small hosting fee of my audiobook, The Lost Art of Discipline. And we cover things like this. When you don't feel like doing something, that is when you have to do it. That's when it becomes the most important thing in your life, because it's those moments that will determine your life. And at the end of your days, you're going to look back and see a life well lived, or see a life where you just were a victim to your feelings and you never got anything great done. You never really reached your potential. Then there's those guys who exceed their potential, and they're the guys that no matter how they feel, they get it done. All right, fellas, get after it.